Hi, it's Mobile Max, and it is March 27th, Thursday, 2025. Does everybody know about the Mongol Empire from early 13th century to mid 14th century? You know, like Genghis Khan, Kublai Khan. They took over most of the civilized world. They had incredibly the largest empire almost ever known. It stretched from China to Russia to the Mideast, Persia. It even went into Eastern Europe. Hungary and Poland got invaded by. They were great warriors, incredible warriors. They had technology from China. So they had these catapult things that crushed walls, and they had great tactics as far as the army fighting, and they had these bow and arrows they could shoot from their horse. They had many tactics. They were a great, powerful army, and they took over an incredible, huge empire. And under Kublai Khan, from towards the end of the 13th century, they become very civilized, building huge capital cities. And here's one thing they did that nobody else had done, mainly to that point. They started issuing paper money. The Mongols did, because they had this huge empire, and they had to make a whole lot of different payments to different people, and different organizations had to trade among each other, and naturally bartering goods made it much more difficult. So they issued their own paper money. And at first they backed up this paper money by gold and silver and copper. So if you had their paper money, you could go to an exchange bank and exchange your paper money for gold or silver or copper. But as things went on and the empire got more complicated and they needed to spend more money, and they wanted to build big, huge castles and mansions and do all sorts of improvements, building roads and bridges and such, they started just printing out the paper money and passing it out to everybody, and including their army, because naturally they had to pay their army as well. Well, what happened is they ignited incredible hyperinflation. Everything went skyrocketing in price. And the money started deteriorating because nobody had faith in it anymore, because they couldn't go and exchange it for any gold or silver. So the money started to become worthless. And that was the main factor in the dissolution of the Mongol Empire. That was the beginning of it. From that point on, it started falling apart because they printed out money in huge volumes and depreciated the money and destroyed their empire. We're doing the same thing. When did this all start? Well, I'm pretty old, so I was around for a long time, and when I was growing up, it's pretty much every 7 to 10 years they'd have a boom and then a bust. For instance, in early 90s, we had the junk bond and savings and loan scandal. Savings and loans were investing supposedly in safe investments, wanted big returns with junk bonds. And a lot of these, in the end, the junk bonds, a lot of them became worthless, and a lot of savings and loan went to hell in a handbasket. And then there was the 2000 dot-com bubble. And then in 2008, there was the mortgage meltdown. And that's where the story starts for this current period, is the mortgage meltdown. In about 2012 was the low point for the mortgage meltdown. And from that point on, prices and real estate values and things of that nature went up, 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 up. And it was a bubble. In 2019, things had really appreciated. Value of real estate had doubled and tripled. And then the pandemic happened. So instead of pulling the plug, they doubled down on the printing out of money, because they decided that we can't pull the plug, we'd have a massive recession or depression. They're just too scared to pull the plug. So they went wild again, providing all sorts of money for everybody. And then now everybody's got big rights. Well, this wasn't totally the fault of just liberals in California, because they did pass Proposition 47 in 2014 to reduce the prison overcrowding. So they made it a misdemeanor for any petty theft under $950, and a lot of drug possessions in small quantities were reduced to misdemeanors. But the pandemic and the homelessness crisis caused government to print out the money. So everybody got money, and not only just regular people, but rich people got billions, because naturally things like airlines couldn't fly and were losing money. So many large corporations got billions and billions of dollars from the government. Somebody had to pull the plug somewhere, or this whole United States of America empire is going to fail. At some point, if somebody doesn't pull the plug on this printing out of money, our money's going to lose its value. People are going to stop trusting the dollars because there's too many of them. Right now, we're the power, the main power in the world. And our dominance protects our money, but at some point, if common sense doesn't come into the national psyche, we're going to fail. We must pull the plug, and great patriots like Elon Musk are trying to do this, but we're getting a lot of flack from the damn liberals. I don't know who they support, the liberals. From all their actions, I would say that the liberals support poor people and criminals and rich internet technocrats, because that's the people who've benefited under liberal governance. Well, they're always giving poor people and criminals big rights, reducing penalties. In San Francisco, they've driven out middle-class businesses because homeless people wander in and steal from them. Under $950, the police can't do anything. What they have to do is get a restraining order. And because getting a restraining order for a business is like very complicated, you need to hire an attorney, it's very expensive. So what they do is they get a restraining order for themselves, and they have to know who the person is. So it's just one person that they have to get a restraining order. But in the end, that doesn't work either, because the police are handcuffed by the liberal leaders. So all these middle-class businesses in San Francisco are going out of business because of this tremendous creation of new rights for the homeless and the criminals. Money has gone unaccounted for here in Los Angeles. Billions of dollars of homeless money. Where did it go? Somebody's got to pull the plug. And I'm going to tell you this also. Somebody's got to go to jail. If nobody goes to jail, these things are going to happen again. And that's another problem. Whether it's the the poor or the rich, when laws are broken and money is stolen or crimes are committed, people have to go to jail or nobody learns anything. That's all I got to say.